Hey, everybody. Good morning. I'm sure we're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed because we got a great night of sleep last night,
I did.
right?
Whoop, whoop. For once, I got a good night's sleep, and I'll tell you my secret in a minute. But first, I have to tell you, first of all, we should tell you that I'm Jen and she's Sharon, because in case you can't read our name tags, and that we're both editors with your teen.
Mhm.
And we talk every Wednesday at 10:30, whenever we can. We get together for coffee, or today it's water because it's hot and I'm hydrating. And we talk about stuff that's on our mind or maybe on your mind related to parenting teens. And this morning, Sharon, I have the most amazing thing to tell you.
Yeah.
When I came downstairs to get on this call, I walked through the kitchen and one of my kids was organizing the freezer without any instructions. Just
Wow.
making it look good because nobody can find anything in there, and it's so frustrating when you go to the store and then you come back and you either didn't buy the thing you thought you had or you bought too much of the thing you already had. And also, do you know how there's that stuff in your freezer that you thought somebody would eat it, and then it just lingers and lingers and lingers, and sometimes you just have to say nobody's ever going to eat this.
Yeah.
And be done with it. I hate to do it, but sometimes you have to do that. So that was the miracle that was happening in my kitchen when I came downstairs today. So
You have arrived, Jen.
pretty excited.
Yeah. If people don't know, your daughters are in college and just graduated. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And they are doing some helpful things around the house. Now, that's not to say it's perfect all the time. There's always room for improvement. Always room for improvement. But
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm hoping you have some wisdom too on our topic today, which is
tell us, what are we supposed to be talking about? I always take us off topic immediately. Sharon's job is to rein me back in.
no, I like the tangents. I don't know about our viewers, but
chime in, if you're watching, chime in and vote. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the tangents.
So today we're talking about sleep and cell phones and other screens and that seem to interfere with bedtime. They do in my house. And do we have bedtimes? Like, has all hell broken loose in your house? Once a certain point was passed, and all of a sudden you think, I'm going to bed. What's my teenager doing? Do I have any idea what time they're going to bed?
Right.
What are they doing while they're still up? Should I be doing something about this? Should
so many questions.
Fixing this somehow?
Well, one thing we figured out we needed to do when we reached that point where we went to bed earlier than our teens, which has been years now. It's been years and years that we've been the ones going to bed and they're still awake. One thing we realized we needed to tell them was how to shut down the house. You get up in the morning and it's lights ablaze, dishes on the counter. That's still happening. But like, do they remember that they should go lock the back door if you haven't done it? Maybe you have a pet that needs to be fed before bedtime, or else they wake you up at 4 a.m. I mean, these are the things that we do routinely. I mean, if you want to get next level, you could even ask them to load the coffee pot the night before. But that's like way next level.
Jen, what I like about this is that you could just add so many things on that maybe they'll just think it's worth it to go to bed before you do. Is that possible?
Great strategy. Like, yeah, you know what? Actually, sometimes that does happen. If we're all on the verge of maybe going to bed, but they're still up, my husband will say, do you want me to close all the windows and shut down the lights, or are you going to do that?
Oh, no, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed.
That oftentimes is the impetus. Like, yeah, no, I'm ready. I'll just go up. Now, maybe the party continues in their room, but at least the downstairs is closed and shut down appropriately. So tell me what's happening in your house these days.
Right.
You've got kids at very different age points.
Before I get into that, I want our viewers to say, what time your teen goes to bed versus you.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that too.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting a gaming notification on my computer. I have no idea how that happens.
Oh my gosh, somebody on your computer? It's all that World of Warcraft.
Somehow the Xbox is connected to my Microsoft account, so I get notifications, which isn't all bad because then I know where my kid is. So anyway, you asked what was happening in my house. So. Yeah. Okay, so I have one who's almost 16. and he thinks he's almost grown.
Mhm.
And he's almost going to college. Never mind that he has 3 more years of high school left. So I should not be involved in what time he goes to bed. I should not be involved in what time the screens go away or if they go away at all, because, if I baby him, then how will he know what to do when he goes to college?
It sounds like he's been reading some of our articles and he's using them against you. That is nefarious.
He has also pushed back. So our experts have said again and again, and I actually looked for some articles, and I'm going to share them with our viewers here about sleep and how much and what to do about it. Our experts typically say about 9 hours for teenagers, which is kind of shocking when we think about how much some of them sleep, at least during the school year, and 10 for middle schoolers. So I don't know.
You have to work hard to get that much sleep. You really do.
Yeah. So, you have to be purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
And so my teenager, who knows all about what he should be doing with his sleep, was complaining the other day because we had to have this railing hammered up right outside his bedroom. And the contractor came at 9 a.m. last week and started doing his hammering.
That's late. That's late for a contractor. They don't even realize that. The contractor wants to start at your house at 7:30.
Right.
If they could.
I mean, they didn't ask. Yeah, this was lucky. Yeah, you're right. So the teenager stumbles out. Why was someone hammering outside my window? I was trying to sleep. And
how inconsiderate of you.
I would have gotten enough sleep had the contractors not showed up outside my window.
Right.
And my point was that it's important to do sleeping things when the rest of the world is sleeping and awake things when the rest of the world is awake. So
but they're not. They're on a different schedule. They really are. Their circadian rhythm is totally different from ours, and it's a challenge.
It is. Sorry, somebody was knocking on my door. I'm all about the interruptions today, but
I was like, I must have said something really shocking.
Is there an emergency happening?
Someone is at the door.
Dad? There's someone at our door, and I
love when real life breaks through on our show.
Go find out who it is and tell them we'll be right there.
In case people thought that we were not real people with real problems and issues, now they know.
Honestly, for a second, I'm like, I have my headphones in, so I don't know who's banging on the door, and I hear a voice very distant. No, so I for a minute I thought it's the teenager yelling at me for talking about teenage things.
Yeah, that could happen. You gotta be
careful. But we know that one's playing Xbox because I already got that notification.
Yeah,
it's chaos over here.
I know. Chaos at the Holbrook household. What can we tell you? What about your younger kids? Are they starting to push back at bedtime too, or are they a little more compliant?
They do push back. I have a younger teenager, and then I have a tween, and then they pretty much do get their sleep. I think it's partly because they don't have phones yet. So my younger teenager is getting one shortly this summer.
Okay, so, I'm really going to be interested to see what happens, because
me too.
I do have a strong feeling, or a theory based on my own experience at least, that the phone is the primary interrupter of good sleep. And the thing is, I mean, we all were teenagers and we all had that circadian rhythm problem too, but we didn't have the cell phone. We did other things probably to stay up late.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, Tracy.
Hi. She says her daughter is soon to be 14. New challenges, new attitude, new for me. Oh, good times. Yeah. Sometimes it's lovely. They can be super great, but 14. I was not my best self at 14.
I have one who's almost exactly the same age, Tracy. And I think her primary concern with bedtime is that it is later than her younger sister's. And she likes to compare that to what her older brother's is too. And there's a definite fairness component that is got a mathematical calculations that I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. Tracy, tell us if your daughter has a bedtime because we're interested. I'm wondering at what age the concept of bedtime goes away. It's in our house, I think it just sort of evaporated. I don't remember ever saying you need to be in bed by this time. I know that when they were younger, they had a bedtime, and it was probably like on a school night, it was 8:30, and maybe on a weekend night, it was 9 or 10 or whatever, depending on their age. But when they got to be teenagers, I feel like I think I just gave up. I gave up giving them a bedtime because it was, you always say, well, I have work. I can't go to bed. I still have homework. And after a while, I mean, they did too. I mean, now was it because they didn't do it earlier in the evening? Maybe. But what mom is going to say, nope, you can't do your homework. You got to go to bed. I mean, you should, but you don't usually.
I definitely hit that point somewhere in high school where I was doing so many extracurriculars and I had a heavy academic load. And I remember being up till midnight and being exhausted and falling asleep in school the next day too.
Oh, yeah, that one will get you in trouble with the teacher sometimes.
Okay, Tracy. 11 o'clock, the house has to be quiet because people work. That makes a lot of sense.
That makes sense. No, that's not the same as saying it's bedtime for them. Like they can be very quiet playing on the Xbox or playing on their phone, or even the thing that entered our house in middle school was the group chat on the cell phones.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Pardee says 10 p.m. for their 14-year-old. Okay,
yeah.
that seems really, really great. If you can get a 14-year-old to go to bed at 10, I think that is like woo, double thumbs up.
I'm still, yeah. The younger two, I feel like I still have under that kind of control. They're in bed by 10.
That's good. Yeah.
But I don't know. Somehow it all like fell apart. I'm hearing objections to 11:30.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have one who's an extreme night owl. She all through college, her preferred time was like she would say my peak time for getting stuff done is 12 a.m. to 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can do that when you're in college because you can craft your schedule around when you have your classes and when you do, and all the extracurriculars are in the evening, so that's fine. And she was not having any problems with her workload, but now she's working at a regular job, and it's mall open to mall close, so it's a little later, but it's still. I mean, she's got to get up every day, and she's been walking people's pets. Pets have to go out early. So she's been burning the candle at both ends, and I'm seeing a little luggage under her eyes. So it might be time for me to say gently to her, are you treating yourself kindly? It's not about me imposing anything on her at this point. She's 22. Right. It's about me saying, sleep is self-care. And if you are feeling ragged and not good, top on the list is, did you get a good night's sleep? Because I know I don't feel great when I don't.
Is she receptive?
Yeah, maybe some days. I think it's sometimes. She knows it's all up to her, and it has been for years. But there's definitely those years between 14 and 20. That's the prime time for them to learn how to manage it on their own.
Right.
And so some of that is like, you're handing the baton. Like you can say, I really think you should be in bed by this hour because the research shows X, Y, Z. Unless you're taking that phone out of their room, though, chances are pretty good that they're still talking to friends at night. They might be doing word games or whatever on their phone or reading but the blue light on that phone is a problem. And I know this for my own self. I have to wrest it out of my own hand. I want to keep playing the spelling bee on New York Times. And I'm like, I'm going to get the word. And all of a sudden I look at the clock and I'm like, wait, it's 11:15. That's way past my bedtime. What am I doing? I should have been reading a book and then going to sleep. If we can't do it, I mean, how hard is it for them?
Right.
We have to realize that.
I think that's an excellent point, and one that teenagers will not miss. If they know we're doing the thing that we're telling them not to do, they're very good. They have hypocrisy meters that go ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I just posted one of our articles about sleep And I'm going to post another one too. This one, do not be alarmed, but this is from the wonderful Lisa Demore, who's so smart.
Yeah.
And she says, if you can get the sleep thing established when they're in middle school, because then they'll have the good habits already. But she and the other author of the other article, which is about cell phones in the bedroom, are both saying we kind of have to do the thing ourselves too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you keep the phone in the same room, Jen?
I do. I'm an offender. I'm an offender. I need to be written up with a citation. I keep my phone in my bedroom because I use it as my alarm. And that's the number one thing that your teen is going to tell you is I need my phone. That's how I wake up in the morning. I use it. Sometimes they even tell you I use it. I'd like an app to help me fall asleep, which is good. I mean, let's use technology for good and not evil. That's wonderful. The problem comes when it lights up and it tells you, hey, somebody wants to talk to you, and it's impossible to ignore. So I am very good about making sure that my notifications are turned off after 10. I think it is 10 or 10:30. I have all that turned off. And then if you're worried because you have a kid who's out, I don't know if you know this, but you can set it, like anybody who's in your favorites, those calls and texts will still come through to you. So you can turn it off for the most part and just have it for emergencies.
Isn't it like do not disturb?
Yes.
So if you put do not disturb and they're on your, what is it? Is it your favorites list?
For mine, I have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Favorites. It might be different for
Android
but I'm sure that there's the same concept.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
And I don't have usually, thanks to the pandemic, I haven't had a lot of those late nights where I'm waiting for someone to need to be picked up or come home or whatever it is. But
on your way.
I know.
Grab in.
But I think I'm going to have to put it across the room at least, even if I want it in the room with me, because for me, if it's right there, it's like the book is right there. And if the phone is right there, I just want to check such and such.
It starts with like, I'm going to check the weather for tomorrow. And then all of a sudden you realize you've been on your phone for 20 minutes. It's insidious. They're designed that way, to be that way. And we've all fallen victim to it. So if we can't do it, it is really hard.
Exactly. Like I sympathize, I'm not saying, oh, you're so bad because you want to be on your phone. It's hard.
It's a hard habit to break, but it is the number one interrupter of sleep is the screens and mostly on their phones. But the other things, there are some other things you can give your kids some tips on if they are tossing and turning and having a hard time sleeping, and it's good for everybody. And one is like kick the pets out. I love the pets, but they do disrupt your sleep a lot. And keeping it really dark. I love my room to be dark, 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 dark. I go around, I have tape on some of the things that have lights on them because it drives me nuts. And everything that plugs in has some light on it.
Yeah, I turn my clock around because that bothers me.
Might be a dimmer on it, so dark is really good and cool. Like if it's cool outside and you can crack the window, that's great. I love that. In the Midwest, this is a favorite saying. If it's like a nice, cool, crisp night, you are guaranteed for somebody to say, "Oh, good sleeping weather." So Midwest.
It's so true. Another tip, Jen, that we know of and have talked about from time to time is when you have those racing thoughts and, so much, maybe that's more for us as parents because we have that never ending to-do list and worry list, to have that little pad of paper next to you and jot it down. So it's like out of your head, you won't forget in the morning. Sometimes I've done this and I'm thinking about something before I go to bed and I look at it in the morning, I think, really, I was worried about that. Yeah, I have to do that, but it's not a big deal. But
it was making your mind work overtime. No, I think that has to be true for kids too. I mean, they've got different worries, but maybe it's like, I need to get to the next level on Halo or whatever. Okay, so write it down, put it to the side. It'll be there tomorrow. Halo is not going away. It's still there.
Well, we are just about out of time. So I want to thank everybody who weighed in. Stephanie is also saying phones are a number one problem in relationships too.
Yeah, that's a problem because we tend not to interact with each other well when we're on our phones. And
Yeah.
my husband will call me out on it. Sometimes they'll call him out on it. Like, you think you're listening to them, and you're like,
Yeah.
I am listening, but I'm also doing this. We're multitasking.
Yeah.
And you're not giving them your attention, and they pick up on it. They don't like it either. So that's a good point, Stephanie. Thanks for reminding us.
Food for thought. And keep weighing in. We love hearing from you. And hopefully we're helping one another a little bit, at least venting, getting out some of our worries. I definitely know from now I'm not alone with the teenager who's pushing back on the sleep time. So
yeah, and I'm excited to go check out my freezer. I want to go see how.
Yes.
I'm going to take a picture, and maybe I'll send it to you later because it's going to be a thing of beauty. I just can't wait.
Awesome. Yes, I do. Can you post it? Can you post
Sure.
it in this thread?
I know. The sad thing is I didn't take the before picture, but you know what you know what.
I could show a picture of my freezer, and then we could just pretend
Okay.
it's the universal before.
Yes, exactly. We probably could. And actually, if you wait a week, my freezer will probably look like that again. This is the same kid, by the way, who organized our medicine closet supplies beautifully, and then she even labeled, like, which things go where, and we don't do a good job of keeping it organized. So God bless her for trying. She's trying, and I appreciate it. So
I love that the shoe is on the other foot. The kid is,
I know, the best. Okay,
all right, everyone.
Have a great day, and we'll see you next week. And tell us what you would like to hear from us about. We're happy to chime in.
Always. All right, take care, everybody.